Hello friends, and welcome to a brand new camera comparison between the brand new iPhone 14 against its predecessor, the iPhone 13. Right now we are recording at 4K at 30 frames per second. Tell me in the comment section below if you see any improvements or if they are actually the same. Before we start reviewing samples from their main cameras, I just wanted to let you know that every daylight picture is taken in auto mode without adjusting any of the settings and without touching on photographic styles. When we look at these samples side by side, you can immediately tell that in general they are mostly similar. These are some of the best phones for taking daylight pictures. Colors and sharpness are on point, and the dynamic range is amazing on both of them. Technically the iPhone 14 is slightly better, but the 13 is almost just as good. There are some small differences, but to find them I had to zoom in quite a lot. Mostly from what I saw, the iPhone 14 improves on the 13 by handling the sky better. If you look closely here on the corner, you can see that the sky is better preserved on the newer iPhone, but the difference is just minimal, and most of the users won't even notice it. In some other samples like here, the difference is slightly bigger in favor of the newer iPhone. Even though both are really good, I prefer the sky on the iPhone 14. The foreground on the other hand is identical. Besides the main cameras, they are also equipped with ultrawide cameras, and here just like before, the iPhone 14 has nicer colors, but the 13 is almost just as good. This just shows that smartphone cameras nowadays are really good, and every year upgrades don't really mean much better cameras. I did notice in some shots the newer iPhone 14 is a tiny bit better on brightening shadow areas. If we crop these images, you can see that the 14 is just so ever brighter, but truly speaking these differences aren't really worth mentioning, since both of them are really good. I did also notice that in some shots the 14 does a better job on maintaining the white colors of the objects, while the 13 does mess things a little bit, but once again an average user won't even notice it. I had to crop in to notice these tiny details. For still images, I would say that both of these phones take amazing pictures with their main and ultra-wide cameras. Unlike their Pro counterparts, the regular 14 and 13 don't have telephoto sensors, so when zooming in everything is digital. Just as expected, at 3x they lose detail, and to me these pictures aren't really usable. In this next case they both did a slightly better job, with the 14 being just a bit sharper. I prefer having a telephoto sensor, but I think an average user is okay with having a main and ultra-wide camera. With portrait shots, iPhones have always been ahead from the Android competition, and these two are no different. Both of them are really good on taking portraits. Edge detection is good, even though it could be better, but overall she looks really nice on both iPhones. Since they miss telephoto cameras, the only way to take portraits is with their main cameras, and just like before they are really good. Some small differences exist. For example, her t-shirt color looks slightly overexposed on the iPhone 13, but in general portraits are one of iPhone's strongest camera features. You can also take portraits with their main cameras, and here I definitely prefer the iPhone 14. Edge detection is similar on both, but I really like how she looks on the 14, even though the 13 just like before isn't far behind. When taking regular selfies without portraits they continue to be amazing. My face is very detailed, and my skin color is very accurate, especially on the new iPhone 14. In some samples like this one for example, I saw that the dynamic range is improved quite a bit on the iPhone 14. As you can see here, while the sky is blown out on the iPhone 13, it is perfectly preserved on its successor. Just for fun I took a panorama sample with them, and just like expected they are identical. I don't really take panorama shots, and I'm sure very few people do that now since the ultra-wide cameras do basically the same job. When recording videos with their main cameras they are both exceptional. iPhones have always been ahead from the Android competition for recording videos, and the 14 widens the gap even more. The difference with the 13 isn't really that noticeable, since even that device is really good. With their ultra-wide cameras, just like before, they are amazing, and truly speaking I couldn't find a difference between them. Colors, stabilization and dynamic range are the same. Moving to low light, and from now on every picture is taken with night mode enabled. I didn't force night mode to its maximum seconds. I just let it decide how many seconds it needed to take the picture. Right away, for me the improvements on the 14 are noticeable. My skin color is more accurate and my beard is overall sharper. The same story is even in this case, and I'm really happy they made the front camera better, since I really didn't like the implementation of the 13 series. It is also worth mentioning that the iPhone 14 always took the picture for 1 or 2 seconds faster. With their main cameras, on the other hand, I really didn't find any major differences. Pictures taken with them are more than usable, and what I like about iPhones is the fact that they don't turn night into a day when using night mode. Both of them are really sharp and the results are very pleasing. Just like with their front cameras, the 14 takes less time to take the picture, while the 13 takes a little bit longer. One of the biggest improvements that I saw was with light reflections. Here, for example, the 14 does a much better job on minimizing light flare, and also the square blocks seem to be more detailed. In general, besides the improvements on light, I really didn't find any major differences. This isn't really a bad thing, since the 13 already had amazing cameras, and the 14 improved slightly on them. In this case here there were almost no light sources at all, and in real life I couldn't even see the flowers myself, but the iPhones did an amazing job on highlighting them. When using their ultra-wide cameras at the same place, of course they aren't as good, but this drop in quality only acquires when there are no lights at all. When the light sources are present, they both continue to take really good pictures. The iPhone 14 is now brighter and sharper, but the 13 is good too. The good thing is that even with their ultra-wide cameras, the light reflections have been minimized quite a lot on the iPhone 14. While they aren't as bad on the 13, it is always nice to see improvements. The iPhone 14 does a much better job on places where the light sources are barely there. If you look here, you can see that the 14 is brighter, and the difference is quite noticeable. At 3x digital zoom at night they aren't usable at all. Pictures are blurry with no details at all, and I was hoping to see some improvements with the 14, but they aren't really there. For zoomed in pictures, neither of them are good at night. If you want better pictures at 3x, I would advise you to go for the Pros, since that is the biggest improvement with them. With low light portrait shots I really like the iPhone 14. Her face and her clothes are much more detailed on the newer device, and overall the picture is better. For portrait selfies, on the other hand, the difference isn't that big. Even though the 14 is a bit better, I wouldn't really call it a big improvement. So guys, what do you think? Are there enough improvements to make you upgrade, or are you sticking another year with your old phone? If you did enjoy this video, feel free to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this.